Dear Diary, as the days go by, they just keep multiplying. Managing layers is like being constipated. The more you allow to build up, the bigger the problem becomes. So, whether you're just a casual artist who enjoys the idea of creating fan art of the characters you love from time to time, or you're someone like me who wants to pursue art more seriously and find a career in the industry, a lot of us have ambitious goals and ideas that we like to execute on, and it's essential that we have an effective workflow strategy so that not only can we avoid a lot of the unnecessary hiccups along the way, and also efficiently produce work. Now personally, I believe that layer management is one of the most underrated skills when it comes to digital painting because of how great of an impact it can have on the efficiency at which you create finished pieces. But oftentimes, we can forget about managing our layers from being too focused on the technical skills, hyper-focusing on composition or rendering, and over time we start building up a lot of unnecessary from not properly managing our layers. So, it's time to flush out all that unnecessary frustration in our workflow. Let's get started. Now you might be wondering, but isn't layer management just knowing in what order to place your layers and naming them correctly? What else is there to know? And while layer management may seem simple, it can become very nuanced when you start painting something more complicated. For example, when I was working on the splash art, there was a bunch of different elements, including visual effects, background props, and spacing layers that, when combined, started to become very hard to manage. And what happens when you suddenly decide to make a big change midway through? How can we organize these layers to ensure that no matter what, even with unexpected changes, the process will run smoothly? On top of that, there are also quite a few ways to approach layer organization depending on your painting style. For example, alla prima painters might enjoy less layers and merging everything together, while people who paint more methodically would prefer more of a structured approach, with more layers giving them more flexibility. Especially when you're doing art as a career, art becomes a production line, and the production line relies on the underlying systems to maximize the efficiency of your output. Good layer management is that system for digital artists. And so today, let's go over the different methods of layer management, including my own, when it comes to creating complex illustrations, the pros and cons of having a complex versus simple layer setup, and a deep dive into how you can create an optimal layer setup that best suits your style. Firstly, let's start this off by talking about what layer management is. So essentially, layer management is the way that you manage your layers. Okay, seriously though, what differentiates good versus bad layer management? Is it to have the least amount of layers to avoid confusion? Or is it to have everything separated into specific layers so that we can go back and make changes easily? In my opinion, it's a little more complicated than that. And the best layer management is a setup that causes you the least friction from start to finish. And to understand that, we need to start by talking about complexity. Naturally, more complex pieces will require more layers due to having more assets and things to separate from each other. On top of that, effect layers such as color dodge, curves, or even layer masks can add even more complexity to a piece. And so on one end of the spectrum, we have a simple layer setup, and on the other, we have a complex one. And the fundamental rule is this: the more layers you have, the more complex everything will be, but you'll have a lot more flexibility in terms of making changes. The less layers you have, the more simple it will be to navigate and manage everything, but it will be a lot harder to make changes once you've merged everything together. Both can save you time in different ways. Having a complex setup will allow you to efficiently make changes to certain areas since you already have everything separated in different layers. For example, some artists like to separate every section of an asset by masking them out individually so that if there are any changes to be made, they can easily target the section specifically while maintaining a clean silhouette. Another example of this can be when artists separate the layers by light and shadow by using effect layers such as color dodge, multiply, or sometimes sometimes even just normal layers. And by having the layers separated by light and shadow, I can now adjust the light and dark shapes accordingly if I decided a different lighting scenario was more suitable for the situation. Ultimately, a complex setup will make the malleability of the piece increase, but the layer count or complexity makes managing everything a lot harder. Unlike this example, a simple setup will save you the time and hassle of scrolling through a long list of layers and trying to manage them all. But having this setup will also mean you'll be unable to go back to specific areas to make specific changes without having to repaint a lot of things. If I have everything on one layer, all the light, shadow, all flattened out like so, it would take a lot more time to manually paint out the light and repaint a different light scenario, or even just changing the color of that light. Now that we understand the complexity, here are a few conclusions we can make. A simple layer setup favors more formulaic paintings where you already have a clear direction of where you want to take the image, or you already have really strong references where it's very unlikely that there will be big changes later on. For example, if you're making a series of portraits or doing studies. Complexity, on the other hand, usually favors longer drawn out pieces where you aren't fully sure what direction you want to go down, so having a saved checkpoint is very helpful and even necessary at times to make changes easily. And this is most often the case when you're doing work for the industry as well. You never know what your art director will ask you to change next, so it's always better to err on the side of caution. Generally speaking though, every layer should have a purpose, so try to be aware of why each layer is separated, and if possible, it's always good to simplify an extra layer if it serves no purpose. With that in mind, we can have a clear goal at all times about the setup based on your needs. Now that we've covered the basics, let's talk more about the most common layer setups that most people use and how to find a setup that best suits your style. So there are many styles of layer management, and different ones can be better suited for different styles and different goals, starting with the technical approach. For this method, we'll be separating layers for every light source and shadow, so think the key light, bounce light, rim light, and all the shadows including cast shadows and ambient occlusion will all be separated into different layers. This method is most commonly seen in cell shading styles including anime or animated styles in general, but I've also seen people with more painterly styles use this approach. The benefits of using this method are the following. You'll have an easier time changing and experimenting with different light sources and shadows, and since this method requires you to be more aware of the light sources and where they're coming from, it tends to produce pieces that are more consistent in lighting. The cons of this method are that you're restricted to painting on the right layer for each corresponding source of light. So every source of lighting is its own layer. Another thing is that if you suddenly decide the pose isn't working or there needs to be some sort of adjustment, you'll have to repaint the lights and shadows in accordance with the new pose. So it's not very flexible when it comes to changing positions of your assets, rather you're maximizing efficiency in changing light and shadow. And finally, it's more complex to manage the more assets you have. Imagine if we had 7 different assets all being affected by the same light sources and shadows. The complexity can grow rapidly. I personally don't prefer this method because it's very limiting when I have to search for each layer to paint on the right corresponding light layers, so it's a very technical approach. And I think it's a method better suited for single subject illustrations, as when you only have one subject to worry about, it becomes a lot easier to manage, and the pros of being able to manage every aspect of the lights and shadows easily outweighs the cons of having too much to manage. In this approach, instead of separating every layer for lights and shadows, we separate an asset into sections if they overlap other areas and based on their proximity to the camera. Kind of like the example I showed from earlier. The goal of this overall approach is to be able to efficiently adjust the depth and positioning of overlapping parts. And the pros of this method is that you can efficiently reposition different assets and adjust the sense of depth with overlap if needed. If you have all your layers painted fully, like an arm in the foreground, and you decide that you want to move it slightly or adjust the foreshortening, you can do it without affecting the torso behind it. Whereas if I didn't have the segments separated, I'd have to repaint in the new gaps formed in the areas behind it. And when it comes to adding depth in certain styles of illustration, making sure that the things that are closer to the camera are clearly pushed out is important. Like in this example. If the segments are separated, I can easily create this effect by making a spacing layer in between the arm and torso and enhance the sense of depth or adjust it whenever according to my needs. The downsides of this method are very similar to the previous one, which is that the more parts you decide to separate, the more complicated things can get. On top of that, while it's not as strict as the technical method, you still have to paint on the right corresponding layers and it can feel somewhat limiting. This method is better suited for complex pieces that have a lot of overlapping elements that need to be separated. But not all methods have to separate layers so strictly. A lot of us simpletons actually prefer to flatten everything out and paint on top of everything nice and simple. Which brings us to... Now this method is what I assume most painters like to default to, as it's the most simple and similar to how things would be done traditionally, since your canvas in real life is the only layer you have access to. But essentially after your line art stage, once you've blocked in most of your underlying colors and values, you straight up merge everything together and start painting on top of the line art, usually creating new layers once you're happy with the current version so that you can always go back if the painting starts getting worse. It's a very straightforward method if you know exactly what you're doing. But it can be unforgiving if you or the client suddenly decides to make a big posing or lighting change, since you'll have to re-render a lot of the work. However, if you are locked in and you have an end vision in mind, this straightforward method is the way to go. And I think this method is a lot better suited for more advanced artists because if your fundamentals are weak, you'll most likely have to make plenty of changes throughout the process. Having this setup will make going back and making changes a lot more difficult since you have less separated layers to work with. Now that we've covered the most common methods of layer management, how can we find the best method for your style? We can start by understanding what your needs are for each illustration. For example, if you're a portrait painter who doesn't have many parts to separate or a need to show depth, you can always just do the straightforward method. If your understanding of light and shadow is shaky, it would be a lot more beneficial to start with a technical approach, as you're most likely going to make a lot of mistakes and having to make a lot of adjustments to the lighting. On top of that, using this method will help you be more aware of where your lighting is coming from and help keep it feeling more consistent. At the end of the day, these quote-unquote methods I've mentioned are, in all honesty, very fluid concepts around layer management. You don't have to completely stick to any single approach. In fact, I always use a combination of them depending on the needs of the piece. And more importantly, you understand your abilities and needs the best. So trust your gut. I found an artist a while back who, upon analyzing their speed paint, makes a new layer for every single brushstroke at times, where they carve out their perfect desired shape. And it plays a huge part in their style because their style is very sharp, precise, and accurate. It goes to show that there really are no rules to layer management, only concepts to understand that we can use to make our process easier. You might have a very different system that just works better for you, in which case you should totally stick to it. I typically have the big general sections separated, like the main subject, any overlapping elements like hair, arms, or weapons, and of course the background and foreground elements into different layers, along with visual effects, textures, and spacing layers. I usually only separate layers for lighting when it comes to rim light and bounce light, as those lights can be more experimented with since they usually have less of an impact on the overall composition, whereas my key lighting is usually never changed, because it's the foundation of my value composition, and a lot of the times after the thumbnailing stage I prefer to keep it as a constant, or else changing it might cause new compositional problems. Whether you constantly find yourself having to repaint a lot of areas because of big compositional or lighting changes, or you always end up having a lot of layers and over complex layer setups because you aren't managing it properly. Wait, give me a second. As I was saying, without a game plan, your production machine will inevitably begin to clog up with inconveniences. And the more you let it fester, the bigger and bigger of a problem it will become. So, stop keeping it in and just let it out and go draw.